Hello, BookTube. Got a little more mail. Thought we'd go through it together. It's not much, but that's good. after yesterday's bombardment, we don't want much. Let's see what we have here for. Oh, it's individually wrapped. Oh, good. I feel special. All right. What do we got here? What have we got here? Oh, great. Okay. Do we have anything in the way of individual wrapper? We don't have anything else, though. Okay. This comes out at the end of the month. This is by Alan Corbin, and it's A History of Silence. It's a tiny little thing. And it would ordinarily be the type of keyhole microhistory that annoys me. But this struck me as the thing done right. I'll have to read it and see. But let's see here. Silence is not simply the absence of noise. It is within us, in that inner citadel which the great writers, thinkers, scholars, and people of faith have cultivated over the centuries. Today, when noise is everywhere, distinguished historian Alan Corbin goes back to a time when speech was rare and precious. And I like some of the early digging here, so I'm curious to see what it's like. Silence meant a lot of different things to antiquity that it no longer means today. And of course, that cover copy is right about one thing spectacularly, which is that we no longer have any silence in the world. Most people don't. I was on the subway just today, and I was surrounded by young people. The kids had just got out of school, and I am sure that the young kids that I was hearing all around me have never experienced silence in their entire lives, and probably don't even know that they could enjoy it. They would probably consider it punishment. So I don't know what its future will be. We shall see. Let's see what the next one is here, though. This one is considerably bigger. All these are considerably bigger. Oh. Oh, what is this? Oh my. Okay, this is out already. I never thought in a million years I would ever get an opportunity to praise this to you all. Is what I'm saying on this channel all along for the last 2 years. My sweet tooth for older books is in large part satisfied by new books now, because reprint culture is, if not as robust as I would like to see it, pretty wide-ranging. Look at this beautiful paperback reprint from W.W. Norton from Liverite. This is Song in a Weary Throat by Polly Murray. Unbelievable. This is her memoir from 30 years ago, more than that, in a beautiful paperback original reprint. Oh, incredible. Incredible. That's her in all her glory. Polly Murray was an activist before we had that word. She was a passionate advocate for black civil rights. She wrote and thought and fought and lived the groundwork for the civil rights movement that would come only late in her life. And the civil rights pioneers, including the Warren Court, when it was researching Brown versus Board of Education, dug into legal documents and written opinions that she had made years before and incorporated them into their work. She faced every kind of discrimination at a time when it was legal. She was denied admission to one school, even though she more than qualified, simply because she was black. She was denied admission to another school, even though she qualified, simply because she was a woman. And in addition to all that, she had sort of the dealer's spread of discrimination hot topics, because in addition to being black and a woman, in addition to being also incredibly intelligent and outspoken at a time in America in the early 20th century, in the first 4 or 5 decades of the 20th century, when that was much more frowned upon than it is today, she was also what my generation would have called androgynous. She wasn't comfortable looking or really acting or dressing or seeming like a typical woman of the time, and she was also gay. And she never let it get to her, which is kind of amazing. She fought constantly, and yet kept a great attitude throughout it all, and ended up breaking ground and becoming, among other things, a reverend. It's hard for the people who know about her to think of her as Reverend Murray, but that is who she is. If we call the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, then we can say it for her. Certainly, she trod the ground that he trod long before he did, and made it possible for him to do it. Him and lots of others. And she wrote a great book about her family. She wrote a great memoir about her family. But later on, she wrote a great memoir of her own life, her own individual life, and this is it: "Song in a Weary Throat," which is a line from a longer poem that she once wrote. And the "Song in a Weary Throat" is her description of hope. Hope is song in a weary throat. And I'm just in shock that Liverite would just reprint this. That they would just reprint it. This is the most beautiful edition this book has ever had. And here it is in 2018. I am so much going to enjoy rereading this. Oh my. All right. Okay. We're doing fine for this. Polly Murray. Okay. All right. Let's move on. Let's see what this next one is. This is from Harvard University Press. Comes out in mid-May. What is this? Oh, okay. This is edited by Nicholas Frankel. This is the annotated prison writings of Oscar Wilde. Behind bars, and in the period immediately after his release, Wilde wrote two of his most powerful books, De Profundis and The Ballad of Red and Gale. In this book, Nicholas Frankel collects these and other prison writings, accompanied by historical illustrations and his rich facing-page annotations. As Frankel showed, Wilde experienced prison conditions designed to break even the toughest spirit, and yet his writing from that period displays an imaginative and verbal brilliance left largely intact. Okay. I confess, it's a big blind spot of mine that I've never quite understood. I have never liked Oscar Wilde. I've never liked his writing. Any of it. Even The Importance of Being Earnest. Maybe this will be my way in. I always feel a little bad about that, because I know a lot of readers who love his stuff, but I just never have. We shall see. Well, that's a really neat cover, isn't it? The annotated redone. That's a really neat cover. All right. Okay. Then we've got one more to go here. I think I'll make one video after this, and that will stop at 3. A nice, sensible 3. Oh, good Lord. Okay. This next one is from Harvard University Press, only with a vengeance. Oh, my. Okay. All right. This comes out in a week. I don't think there are going to be lines at the bookstore for it, but it's by Jonathan Thakkar, and it is Plato as a Critical Theorist. God help us all. What is the best possible society? How would its rulers govern and its citizens behave? Such questions are sometimes dismissed as distractions from genuine political problems. But in an era when political idealism seems a relic of the past, they are more urgent than ever. Huh. I can't quite argue with that. Going back to Plato for it, that's... Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, unlike a lot of political theory books that I get from Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, this one I can dig right into. I might not, love Plato, but I know him. I know him quite well, so I can dig into this without playing catch up with some, 21st century or 20th century political theorists that I don't know anything about. All right, well, we're all over the map again. But so we have Plato as a critical theorist. Then we have the annotated prison writings of Oscar Wilde. Then we have Song in a Weary Throat by Polly Murray. So I'm still getting over that. unbelievable that you're going to be able to walk into a bookstore and buy this in a beautiful paperback. And then A History of Silence, a tiny little thing, History of Silence. So no fiction. Sorry, BookTube. But maybe there'll be more. So in the meantime, I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.